Hey guys, back here with the first week review for the Pixel XL that I got. It's been a little bit more than a week now that I've been spending time with this phone. Um, but I have to say that I really like it, despite its price tag. I decided to go with the financing for the phone, so um, it'll make it a little bit easier to manage paying it off. But anyways, let's get right into the things that I like about this phone the most. So off the bat, obviously the battery life of this phone is amazing. Like you cannot I guess compare this phone to anything else right now as far as battery life goes, because this thing for the most part blows everything out of the water. And just to give you an example, I haven't charged this phone in, let's see, if I go to settings, I haven't charged this phone in 2 days. You can catch that. 2 days. It says I have 20 hours left, but that's probably calculating that it's just came off a standby. Screen time, I'm sitting at almost 3 hours and 30 minutes. So 2 days with 3 hours and 30 minutes of battery life on screen. Bunch of other things running in the process or in the background. Played some games, Reddit. Pretty much, your average use. It's not heavy, but still, if I went heavy use, this thing would get amazing screen on time and about a day's worth of usage. And to compare that with the Nexus 6, which is what I'm coming from, the Nexus 6, this thing will only get me through about I would say 4 hours of screen on time and maybe like a 14-hour day, pretty much. So this thing really, coming from the Nexus 6 being 2 hours, or not 2 hours, 2 years old, pretty much. Then moving into the Pixel XL, it's obviously a big difference. So next thing I want to get into is the camera. This camera blows any camera out of the water as well. This thing, I recently went to Medieval Times, and I'll see if I can pull up some, maybe I have some pictures of. So I have videos where it's dimly lit, and just to show you like what the video pulls up, pretty much right there, you can still see, and I know my camera's not the best, but you can still see in the background all the people, and if this was a picture, I'd be able to zoom in onto those people and most likely see their face. So the low light performance of this camera is amazing. The software stabilization, actually let me turn the screen back on. Software stabilization that this camera has works really well. I haven't noticed any jittering, any stuttering when taking videos. I haven't gotten that weird frame skip that most people get. So maybe they released some sort of update to that. I'm not sure yet. But for the most part, this thing, the camera, it works amazing. Next I want to get into is just the OS. So it's using the Android 7.1, the latest version of Android right now. And this is the best Android version that Google has put out yet. It's fast. It's smooth. I don't ever have to restart my phone because it just gets so slow. The Nexus 6 would just get very slow, having maybe 10 or 15 apps open. You know, even though there's only probably one that I'm currently using. This phone, on the other hand, the Pixel XL, it's amazing. I can have 20 apps, I can have 30 apps. I can go all the way back to the first app that I've used, open it up, and it'll open right up. And actually, let's see how many I have. So I only have about, I don't know, 6 or so. But it works. And it's fast. I also like the swipe up from the drawer. It's a really nice feature. They kind of, I believe, got that from seeing other home drawers that they've had, and it's really nice. You know, just flicking up pretty much, and it pops up, and then everything else is just scrolling like that. Really nice. Fingerprint sensor also as well. Using that to basically swipe down for your notifications. That's really awesome. And the new Google Assistant that they have. It's fast. It picks up your voice very well. And it's just a much better implementation than the whole Google Now thing that they have on the older versions. The other thing is signal reception. So I have my SIM card in the Pixel XL right now, and I can't test reception with AT&T, but I can test speed on speed test. So if I go to speed test, and we'll start with the Nexus 6. And so my current internet plan right now is about 150 download and 15 upload, or 10 upload. And so this phone, the hardware, since it's 2 years old or so, showing that it's at 27.56 megabits per second download, and then 12.35 upload, as you can see. So it's not too bad. But now the Pixel XL, since it has much better hardware, can get about 10 more megabits download and getting less upload. That could very well just be my actual internet currently right now. But for Wi-Fi, definitely much better. Having that glass back, having the antennas, everything right there, easily accessible, and not being blocked by the aluminum unibody is really useful. I haven't had any issues where I've dropped down to no signal. I've been in very closed environments, like I was in the medieval times, and I had very great signal in there, and that place is fully enclosed. So that was really great. And so I guess now I can move on to things that I dislike about this phone. And I have quite a few, and these are just minor things that I'm probably not used to on this phone. So let me get this out of the way. Actually, for now. So one thing I don't like is the button placement. So they have the volume rocker and the power button right here, and the placement, at least on this phone, I feel like the power button's just a little too tall, or a little too high up on the phone. The volume rocker is not too bad, I guess, because it's right there in the middle. But if they brought this whole thing down just a little bit, I think it'd be easier to just, I don't know, I feel like I have to reach so much more to get it pressed when holding this phone. And it's only a 5.5-inch display. It shouldn't be that bad to grab it. Now, if I compare it to the Nexus 6, the button placement, and if I hold these side by side, if you see, look at the button placement. The power button's a lot lower on the Nexus 6, which is a much bigger phone, and the volume rocker is a little bit lower as well. And I've never had a problem pressing it on this phone, and I've liked its placement a lot, and I like the volume rocker. The placement on that phone is much better. And the placement on this phone is just weird and very high, and it doesn't have to be that far up. The next thing, and this is kind of like beating dead horse pretty much, but the bezels on this phone are pretty big side bezels pretty much, and the bottom, which has nothing going on here, and something could be going on here. It's just kind of like wasted real estate pretty much. I know they wanted to go with some sort of uniform symmetrical design, so everything's kind of like same size bezel here as well as on the top. But it just kind of irks me that they could have done something, you know, right here. Maybe stretch the screen out a little bit more, so it would have been a 6-inch phone or something, in, you know, the same size as a 5.5-inch body or something like that. And if I just want to compare, like on the Nexus 6, if I turn the phone on, you have a small chin with a speaker and a pretty decent size, you know, forehead, if you will, of the phone, with the speaker as well, and a bigger earpiece speaker. So they're probably about the same size, I think, right? Because I'm pressing so much buttons. So yeah, I think, you know, for the most part, they could have done something different. Next, you know, I can go on to the LED notification, which most people don't know is housed inside the earpiece right here in the very corner, and it's a very tiny LED. Which is good that it's a tiny LED and it's not, you know, crazy, you know, in some location that it's very bright and distracting. But here, since it's in that earpiece and it is tiny, sometimes it's just hard if you have your phone like sitting over here and it's at some weird angle. Sometimes you won't be able to see that you have any notifications because it sometimes gets blocked by this earpiece slot. It's basically recessed in there, so sometimes it gets hidden a little bit, and it's just not that bright enough to, I guess, if it was a little bit more distracting, like if it was brighter, you know, maybe it would be a little bit better because then you could actually see it more. But maybe some people, maybe when they were testing this phone and doing some R&D on it, having a brighter LED actually might have been worse. Who knows? But it, for my likes, it's a little dimly. It's not as bright, and it's kind of hidden, essentially, and makes it hard to see. I do like, though, that it has an LED compared to the Nexus 6, which did not, unless if you rooted it and got the 3 colors or so to work on the Nexus 6's debug LED. So those are just a few things that I dislike about the phone. So some things that I wish that this phone had, and this goes back to like the bezels. I wish it had a second speaker. And if you can see on the bottom, you have 2 speaker grills, right here and right here, but only one of them, this guy right here, has the speaker. I believe the microphone sits in here, but that just seems like a very odd spot to put one microphone and a big speaker like that. So they could have done, you know, maybe a second speaker right here, or somehow upgraded its earpiece to act as a second speaker. That would have been nice. The other thing that I wish this phone had was IP67 or IP68 water resistant certification, like the Samsung Galaxy S7, iPhone 7. This phone fits their price range, fits the same exact price as those phones. So not having that feature, and I know that they ran out of time. It would have had they would have had more time to design this phone and put those things in. But that's just one of the things that you want a company to make a phone. You want them to be able to fit those types of things, especially when you want to compare them to the phones in the price range. You want to be able to have them put those features into the phone. That way it can be competitive with those phones because of that feature alone. Now, I'll never use this phone underwater. I never have. I've never needed that feature. I never wanted to be underwater and be like, oh, I gotta take this picture, or anything like that. Like being out in the rain, the Nexus 6, the Pixel XL, like that, they're fine. The water's not gonna get anywhere that's gonna highly damage the phone. So I'm not too worried about that per se, but it's just one of those things that I wish it had. Now I do have some things on this phone that do act a little weird, and maybe it's because it's the first time using a phone that has this. For instance, the fingerprint sensor. Sometimes it will misread my fingerprint. Now I don't know if that's the fingerprint sensor or if that's how I have set it up. But I essentially, if I go into my security, I click on fingerprint. I set up five fingerprints. Of those 5, 4 of them are from my pointer finger, from index finger. Because it just seems like I'm always grabbing the phone and I'm always pressing it, and it looks like it's only detecting the first one by that. But it seems like it's I don't know. I'm picking it up and I'm pressing it and it's just not reading it sometimes. It could be that there's gunk on it, but I don't know. Sometimes it acts weird. So maybe it's just something I have to get used to over time. Who knows? And the second thing that I think just acts weird on this phone, and it could be maybe I have a faulty device, but for the most part, and I can't quite get it to reproduce this weird thing that happens with the power button. Sometimes when I have this on my nightstand and it's set like this, and it's off, and I'm like, I just wake up or something, I want to check the time, I reach over and I go and try and press the power button, and sometimes it just doesn't register that I've pressed the power button. So I don't know if I have something wrong with my power button, that it'll take the click but it won't actually do anything. So I'm not sure. It's just something that's weird, and I've noticed it where I've clearly pressed. So right now I'm pressing the fingerprint sensor with my left finger, and it's not picking anything. It's just doing the double vibration, and now it locked me out. Too many attempts. Try again later. So that's just, some things that kind of irk me about this phone. Maybe it's just something I have to get used to. I don't think my fingerprints are, or my fingers are dirty, so I'm not sure why it does that. Anyways, it's been a pretty long video, but this is my first week review of it, and I know my opinion's probably not worth much, but if you can do the financing plan, or if you can go on Verizon or T-Mobile, or anything that gives you some sort of incentive to bring this phone onto their plan, and then they give you a price cut, a price reduction on this phone, and you need an upgrade, definitely consider this phone. Definitely go with this. I would say go with this phone because of just its stock feel, its stock Android operating system. It's just an amazing phone, and you will be very happy with it. If you want to go for all the features that like Samsung or maybe even LG has, then go for those phones, because they do offer other things that this phone does not offer. So just, make the decision as best as possible, but try and get your hands on one of these and test it out for yourself, because you will be very surprised, and you will most likely want to go with this phone because it is just amazing. And I would say battery life alone is like the number one reason to get this phone, because I've had it a week and I've charged it, since this phone's been on for 2 days now, or I've had it for a little bit more than a week, so I think I've maybe only plugged it into the charger twice or 3 times at most to keep this thing going for the duration that I've had this phone. And that's crazy. That alone is crazy. That is one of the best things about this phone. And that's something that I hope they continue making better and better and better. Next thing you know, you have a phone that lasts for a week. That would be awesome. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you like it. Give it a little thumbs up. Subscribe to it, to my channel if you like my channel. I also do more things on Twitch. Follow me on Twitter if you want to. I think I have my Twitter in the details down below. Just see me on all those social medias if you want to get in contact with me. If you want to watch, me play some video games on Twitch. I interact with my stream a lot. I'm fairly new into streaming on Twitch. I've only been doing it for about a month or so not too bad. But yeah, come in, say hi, and I'll be creating more videos in the future. I'll be using this phone. I'll be getting one of those tripod mounts that can hold a phone, so then I can start recording some things. I have some things planned in the future. One of my friends wants to build a PC, so I will be recording. Well, I'll be live streaming on Twitch. I can also record with this phone the process of building it, and I can post it online on YouTube as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope to see you guys in the next one, and peace out.